Welcome to Eternal Journey, the podcast.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Eternal Journey, the podcast that talks about all things Eternal with a focus on limited play. I'm your host, Jedi, and this week on episode 46 of the podcast, we're going to be talking about the latest campaign that was released by Direwolf. That's right. It is the holiday season, and JohnHolio came into town to visit family, and since I live in the same place, we decided to get together, do some content, and so we ended up recording a video doing the constructed applications of the cards of a campaign, obviously because they're not going to be seen in the draft packs by inherent nature of them, right? Direwolf wants you to pay for them, which I think is 100% okay, and so it's kind of defeats the purpose of putting them in the draft packs, even though I personally do feel like half the cards that they put in these campaigns would make great additions to any draft format. I think this is the second time where I felt like cards should be at least the commons and uncommons, maybe even the rares would do good in draft. But anyways, let's be on the point. So we were going to record the video just for YouTube, but it turns out we ended up talking for about an hour and a half. And after a little bit of discussion with the guys and some scheduling with the holidays, of course, because Darth Herman 2 is also a family man, we decided to just go ahead and post this as this week's episode. And then next week, we'll be right back at it again with some more level up limited talk. And then hopefully the elusive draw or redraw podcast will come up. We have it. We have the notes. We have all the content. We just literally have to sit down and record it. So I do apologize. But yeah. So what's going to happen is I am still going to do the shout outs and stuff. And then I will cut to the video / audio of that breakdown that myself and JohnHolio did. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below how you felt about this show, because of course I really appreciate your feedback so I can continue to improve the quality of the show and get you guys the information you want to have more fun with Eternal and also become more skilled across the board. But that is it. So once again, episode 46, Audible, you guys are getting some constructed talk with myself, Jedi, and JohnHolio. So shout outs. We actually got a ton of new subscribers today this week on the Twitch. So thank you guys so much. I want to give a personal shout out to Cassandra. Just a great all-around guy, fantastic, great resource both for Eternal and just him and I chat on Discord from time to time. He's been on the podcast. A very great drafter. Definitely check him out. He started to expand a fourth day on his stream that includes doing RPG games. So definitely check him out as well. That is Cassandra once again on Twitch. So yeah, shout out to him. And then as far as our subs on Twitch, we have a bunch of new ones like I just stated. Well, I'm not sure why I'm repeating myself, but I'll leave this in because some people like me being more human, despite me not really being. All right, that's a rant. Moving on. Potato Princess, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome to the Jedi Order. Heavy Metal Hero. No. Counter / sister / brother. Not really sure. Partner podcast. Parmalee from the Misplay podcast. Heavy Metal Hero, recent Eternal player, I believe, and actually just started drafting thanks to my show, so that makes me super excited. Jungle Spider, finding the Twitch off of the podcast. So actually, yeah, there you go, Jungle Spider. Give you a shout out on the podcast. And then Piker Bacher 69. So thank you each and every one of you for joining the Jedi Order. I really appreciate it. I am glad you guys are enjoying the content on some form or fashion and are able to support me and all the time and effort that I do. I'm really glad you guys are getting something out of it. Shout out once again to the Misplay podcast because they absolutely hate getting thanked. So why not troll them in a positive way? So that's right, Misplay, thank you. So they're a ton of fun. I really enjoy it. Gato Sujo and Parmalee, aka Jason and Mark, are fantastic guys. They're, like I said, a sister Eternal podcast. They do a lot of constructed. Tune into their one that should be coming out roughly about the same time this episode gets posted, maybe a little before, talking about Parmalee's ECQ run because they did really well. They did really well. Super proud of them. So yeah. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Once again, I really hope you enjoy the show. And yeah, so on to the content. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Eternal Journey video. Today, I have a special feature for you. We have JohnHolio joining me live in the Eternal Journey studio. What's up, John?
Hey.
Sweet.
How's it going, guys?
So you guys aren't listening to this. I mean, you are, but you're also watching it live because this is only going on YouTube. So this is a special feature here. We are going to be doing our own personal breakdown of the new cards from the, what is it? Promised Firelight? What's it called? Hold on. Promises by Firelight. There you go. Got it. So we're going to be going down. We get 22 new cards injected to the Expedition format as well as thrown by default. So we're going to go through it and do our first impressions. We're not going to get too in-depth on these because obviously we never know as the meta starts to shift around these cards, what new decks arise and whatnot. We're already starting to see them make a little bit of a shake. So yeah, that's all we got going on. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So first one up, we have Cinder Clutch. This is a 1 power, 1 fire slow spell. Deal 1 damage to an enemy for each dragon you have with a different name. Then play a 3/1 Flame Fang with Reckless for each damage Cinder Clutch dealt. So not surprising to see, we've already seen this in a couple of cards, things like, for example, Carvet, that essentially they don't want you to have multiple dragons, they want you to have multiple dragons with different names. So I guess that stops you from like going ham on one dragon, which honestly I don't feel is that powerful, but you know, whatever. It is so long story short, so baseline, you get to kill an X1 and then get a 3/1 on the backswing. So seems kind of medium to me. I mean, there are X1s in the format.
Yeah.
It does kill the Rakano Smuggler, and it does kill Shenra.
Shenra. Those are 2 notable ones, but
and then I guess an unsacrificed Nahid's Faithful. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they like putting those in the void anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what else? So like, all right, and so best case scenario on average, this thing's going to do 1, but you can.
A lot of times it will just be.
But I guess if you're the Stone Scar deck, you might have 2 because you'll have Whelp, Whelp, maybe a dragon off of Kozin, right. Carvet, and then Eclipse Dragon.
Yeah, like you might, especially the Whelp and the free dragon off of Kozin, maybe like your average best case scenario. Like so what in that case?
Dealing 2 damage for 1, but at slow speed, and then you're getting
it does 0 damage if you don't have a dragon. Did I just read that right? I didn't even realize.
Oh yeah, you're totally bro. I mean, you just wouldn't cast it, right? Oh, you mean like if they do it in response? I don't think Eternal works that way. I don't think Eternal
even cast it probably, right?
Yeah, I don't think Eternal checks like that. You mean like you cast it, and then in response they kill your dragon, it does 0. I don't think it would work that way. I'm not sure. That's a good point. I
don't know about that either. But if you don't have a dragon out, can you even cast this?
No. So yeah, that's yeah.
I thought it was deal 1 plus 1 for each.
Oh yeah, dragon. You're totally right. No, yeah. Okay, and it's a rare though, so it's got to be.
I mean, it's a campaign, so the rarity really doesn't mean anything, right?
I mean, a little bit. You got to assume that they have a level of like rating system. They don't just slap.
You can like read into it some, but I mean, let's be real, right? You get 4 of each of these no matter what. Well, you can't trade them in, so like the rarity is not even really a thing, right?
Yeah, fair. I see what you're saying.
Just at a glance, you'd expect something that is labeled as a rare to be a relatively powerful thing, which I mean, this does scale, but.
All right, so let's put best case scenario on this thing, right? Let's say you have 3 dragons, so this thing is a torch, and then you get 3/3/1 Reckless guys. Is that good enough?
It's like okay,
right?
I mean, it's just 3/1 flame fangs. In any constructed format, that seems like a questionable thing. So
like the thing is that I feel like this deck has an identity, or this card has an identity crisis, because really you would want to see this in aggressive low to the ground deck where you can empty out your hand, and that's getting a slight blocker out of the way or dealing damage to the face plus getting you an attacker. But then because you want other dragons means that it's in a slower deck. So like
I don't know about this.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna drop Carvet, and then after you drop a 4/5 flying lifesteal, then you do 1 damage?
Surely we can do better with our 6 or 7 power and our like 3 dragons, right? This maybe feels like a win more card.
So what? Just F, right? Unplayable.
I don't know about this one. I'm not interested in even trying it really now that I really grasp what it's trying to do here.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is the time that we both just completed the campagns within the last 2 days, I think, roughly.
I finished yesterday.
Yeah, I did mine as well. So we're having the first time. So all right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this one is one of the new champions. It is a cycle. Each color gets 1. I've already seen this one play. I'll tell you about it in a moment. So Endra, Champion of Shavka. This is a 2/2 rogue For 2 fire, summon, play Shavka's song. Mastery 6, play Shavka's song. And then Shavka's song, we can go, there we go. Oh, that's awkward. See if I
Are we off the screen?
A little bit. That's fine. We'll do it like that because, all right. So Shavka's song, now the mic's in the way, is 2 power. Not that it matters because it's playing it off of this. So I guess the 2 power is just, if you bring it out of your void. That makes sense. The artwork's kind of cool.
Sure, you can bring it out and cast it from the
with
void, so...
Prodigal Sorcery.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so Shavka's song is a 2 power slow spell for fire. Deal 1 damage to an enemy plus an additional damage for each other Shavka's song in your void. You get 1 power this turn for each damage Shavka's song dealt. So first 1 damage, 1 power. Then 2 damage, 2 power, 3 damage, 3 power. So let me ask you, you being the Spellcrack deck player right now, how much damage do you want to do off this before you're happy with your return?
I mean, in that kind of deck, I don't know if this really goes in that kind of deck, because by taking it out of the void, you're powering it down while powering it up, right? So it cares about each other song in the void.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know. I haven't gotten to experiment with it in that shell yet or anything.
So essentially, the first one's free, right? Because you're getting
comes with a 2/2.
So you're getting a free 1 damage off of a 2/2, which
plus
isn't
power.
Horrible. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
I like the power.
So once you play
on that a lot.
Once you play your second one, it's free. It's 100% free because now you're not even going down on power on it.
Right. Especially if you pay it off a unit, right? You play the unit and then you just get your 2 power for that back. And so you can have some really explosive turns if you can chain these and things like that.
I actually went up against this deck or this card in ladder. So I'll break it down. I don't remember the specifics, but long story short, it was fire, time, shadow, and they had ways of getting the champion out of the void, and then they had ways of recasting Shavka's song from the void. And by the end of it, they hit me for a Shavka's song for 5, and they it was free. Like they literally comboed off because the first one hit me for, or eventually they hit me for 3, had 3 power, were able to play like a reread, hit me again because it reset the power. So, and they kind of comboed off.
Yeah, this is a fun build around card.
So
I'm excited to brew with this.
I think what helps with this is the fact that it comes on a 2/2 body, which it's serviceable. Like most decks need a 2/2 for 2, and it being in fire means that you can be a lot more aggressive with it. So, do you think like it's more of a niche card, or do you think it's a lot more flexible in what decks it can go in?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of a build around card. At least it's kind of asking you to do that. I don't know that you just always jam this in your 2 slot in any fire deck. Like it's not an Oni,
Yeah,
it's
fair.
Like it's double fire. So I think that pigeonholes its use just a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, and the thing is too is that sometimes it's just gonna help you put spells in your void. Like that matters, right? So sometimes you just freely add a spell into your void. And then you could get some value off of it. Obviously, if you get the mastery up to 6, it is in fire that has a lot of pump spells. So
I mean, we both come from a magic background, right? So anything where you're like getting especially in this case like power specifically back, like as it scales up, that's just an effect waiting to be broken in some way, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime you're able to cheat on power, something's up.
Right? There's got to be something really strong to it. So
okay, this card already stood out to you, so
it did, but like I kind of like drew myself back on it once I kind of realized that it's probably not great in the deck I had it in mind for.
Well, go ahead and break it down for us.
So yeah, Ixtal's Pendant, 2 in a time for casting, and then +3 max power. Cards in your hand cost 3 more. So
and it's a relic.
It's a relic, yeah. So like I think the +3 max power, like I was expecting more cards in the campaign to kind of ask for that. There is the 1 champion, but like that was kind of a thought before, when it was still spoilers. But there's not really a lot more cards that care about that, so that's not really a thing right now. Maybe in the future set or something as far as caring about max power. But in this case, it's more like asking you to do activated abilities on relics and creatures, and like warp stuff is what's really calling my name here, especially the warp stuff. Like it doesn't matter. Like, if you're trying to cast stuff from your hand, it's just a blank relic, basically, right?
Yeah, it just
in
counts.
fact, it's just worse if you're trying to cast multiple things from your hand. And so, like, you know, the first thing I thought of was like, well, I run this relic deck with warp, like, except that to cast, you know, to do the warp, you have to cast something from your hand to start with. And so it's like, oh, well, that already kind of makes it, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a glimpse deck, right? And so just to cast the glimpse, it'll already deplete that extra power. Right?
I mean, I guess you can do Diogo, right? And make your glimpse destiny. And now you're jumping through 6.
There's definitely some combo stuff here, but not like that was the deck I had in mind initially, but I really don't think that I can use that. But so I think there's more just like a forge deck or something, right? Where you're just playing things that have warp already. Yeah. I think that's more for what it's for.
So here's my thing on that, right? Is that, let me go back to it. It's a rare. So I know it's a campaign, but I feel like in testing, like they do that for a reason. If not, they would just make them all a certain rarity or a promo.
Well, I think it waters down some of the, you know, I think it's literally just a mental thing, honestly.
Fair. I mean, I guess I give them a little too much credit for play testing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't, you know, because like, to me, this is more like an uncommon level card or something.
That's what I feel like. I totally do. Like, think about what uncommons we're seeing. I don't even look at
the rarities, really.
Yeah, fair.
They don't want to like water down the other campaigns by giving you everything is legendary all of a sudden or anything like that.
You know what though? It's extremely surprising to me though at the fact that the cards in your hand is the same. Like, I can understand making them more expensive, but I feel like this would be still serviceable if it was +3 maximum power and then +2 cost to everything. You know what I mean?
I think they're scared of having it be,
because
then if you had multiple of these in play,
it just seems so weird to blank. Because what it initially felt like to me is, do you remember Heartless Summons? Heartless Summonings from MTG? Mm-hmm. So Heartless Summonings, not to go on a huge tangent, but it's enchantment that you get 2, or everything, all units in your deck cost 2 less, but they all get a -1/-1.
Okay.
Or is it -2/-2? But I think it's -1/-1. Yeah, I think they all get -1/-1, but all units are 2 less. So a 6 is 4 now. Okay. And that card was not broken, but did some things. Because now something that was supposed to come down at 6 is coming down at 4.
Sure. So it's scaled down a bit, but I mean, in Magic, I'm sure you can do some busted stuff. It's on different axes. Yeah. So right.
So I feel like this it's really niche. I think this is something they made for the brewers. Like, here, try to break this. Because I just don't, unless there's something in the next set that makes this more relevant.
Like for Expedition, in this most recent surge of cards they put in, they added a bunch of
warp stuff.
And I haven't done any brewing with it because I don't know that it was just there on the surface. Like, I thought it was going to take quite a bit of work. But like, this makes me want to mess with that a little bit more.
But see, notice if you're talking about all the legendaries with 5 influence, this coming down, like, you're still not going to have the influence to play it early.
Yeah.
So I see what you're talking about, where you play this on 2, and then on 3, if you get lucky, or 4, you have that Siditi or Zumacon on top.
I'm not talking about that. They added just like Praxis Warp.
Oh, I got you. I
mean, this is not the best example, but Brent's Scrying was added, and like just some other low cost and just warp synergy cards.
You get to Brent's Scrying and Blink Wolf in the same turn. Boom, got there.
Yeah, but like they added like a number of those in the last. I can't remember what other cards they added, but I don't know. There's something to brew with there. I don't know if it's gonna.
I don't think it's gonna be competitive. Even if there is something going on with this, I don't think it's gonna be competitive. I think we've seen more niche cards that seem more powerful, and even then they didn't see play. So I think there might be a deck around. There might not. It might just be a challenge that they made. They're like, here, see if someone comes up with it. And
I'm gonna mess with this when I'm brewing, but I don't think it's gonna lead to much. Honestly.
Yeah. All right, well, of course, the time card will go with the time champion. So Ixtal, Champion of Grodov, is a 0/0 giant for 6 triple time. Attack and health equal to your maximum power. So there's that synergy that John was talking about earlier, where the 3 additional power you get from the Ixtal's idol was
pendant. I thought maybe there'd be more cards that carried in this set, but not really.
And then notice one thing, that it is live. So if you have, for example, Devotee of the Sands and then he dies, then it'll lose the extra +1/+1. So just something to think about. And then when an enemy unit dies, play a random power card from your deck. So it kind of, the gladiator aspect of it kills one of their units, he becomes stronger.
Makes sense flavor wise.
Flavor wise, it does kind of, it is the color for the Empower, the Combray deck, so that's a thing. It feels like a limited card to me. A silence just wrecks this. A silence kills this guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
that
can't play this in Throne.
Yeah, that right there just puts me off of it. Like, it just, anytime silence can become a kill spell just seems really bad.
Time is not the best at killing units either.
Yeah, it's gotten a little bit better, but not much.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, is there really a conversation to be had with this guy? I think Time has plenty of units at the 6 drop that are just solid all around.
And it's triple time influence. Wants you to be very time.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one.
No, I really don't think there's much to talk about, honestly. It just, like I said, right off the bat, like the whole silencing thing
Dies to silence.
It really does. And Horu's coming back, so Enforcer's a thing. Rakano is always going to be around for budget decks, so Enforcer again. I mean, shoot, I'd rather run Grodov's Favored than this guy. Like, it just, yeah, all right, we'll move on. Ixtal, you might be a champion of the arena, but you are not champion of our hearts.
I think they had the best voice lines in the story.
They really did, though. Like, for real.
The Giant did.
Yeah, all right. Let's go. Next up, we have a card that I was kind of excited about, but immediately tempered myself. Because I was immediately thinking of Kodash Sees All, but even then it's not quite as good. I'll explain why in a moment.
Okay.
We have Ali, champion of Kodash, 1/1 warrior for 3 justice. And once again, flexible. This power and attack and health equal to your highest cost relic. Of note, once again, it is not when it enters the battlefield. So as far as I'm aware, or summoned, if you lose said relic, she loses her bonus.
Yeah.
So that's 1. 2, let's continue on. Flying while Ali has 8 attack or more. So once again, it's not static, it's dynamic. So if they lose, their power goes below, attack goes below 8, they lose flying immediately, to include in combat, which could be scary. Summon, you may silence an enemy unit with cost 4 or less. So I guess they didn't want to make the automatic counter to Extol in the same little package, but
attack power 4 or less. So
yeah,
if you're stuck on power,
okay, yeah, fair. So I got excited initially about this card. Initially, like first glance, because A, I thought it was static. So as soon as it came into play, it just locked that in. So it didn't. Mm-hmm. And B, I was thinking of Kodash Sees All, which is one of the win cons in my Throne deck. Or correction, Expedition. Problem with that is that for her to have flying, she has to have 8 or more power. Well, if you read it, it says attack and power. Or wait, okay, it does work. Plus attack and power. Mm-hmm. So no matter what, she's gonna be a 1/1. So actually, with Kodash Sees All, she will be an 8/8 to have flying.
Right.
But once again, if you have Kodash Sees All in play, do you really care about having a big flyer when you're gonna? So there's a non-bow right there.
For this to be relevant on the way up, you're gonna have to play more relics too.
So I mean, so typically, let's go ahead and use, for example, what's seeing play right now in Expedition is the Hourglass. So she's gonna be a 2/2 flyer for 3. No, not even a flyer. My bad. Just a 2/2 that silences.
Just a 2/2.
Like that. No, and then. If you're running Mask to come down, but I just no.
In Throne, there's like just better cards you can play if you're going for a enter the battlefield silence effect and like a flyer. I mean, This is just like a bad Valk Enforcer, basically.
Like, I appreciate them trying the new workspace and you know what I mean, trying to expand on cards and stuff, instead of just reinventing the wheel. But it just, like I don't even want to play these in the Expedition.
Right? Yeah, you just have to work too much for this one. I feel like
the pay. If it was static, if the ability was finite, granted, there is a way where now you're not worried. You don't have player's remorse where you play and you're like, oh man, I drew the better relic, so it gets bigger. But then it also leaves it up to a lot of vulnerability. Plus, when it gets silenced, once again, it loses its abilities. Versus other units, when they come into play, when it gets silenced, it'll lose flying, for example, but it would still be an 8/8.
I feel like having the flying rider being 8 power, that is a lot.
Yeah, like it's a win more.
Why is that so high?
Right? It's a win more.
I feel like it is.
And the thing, hold on, let me double check. And cursed relics are relics, right? Like gifts. So you have gift and Kodash Sees All are the 2, right? The other ones, what? Martyr's Chains, Pit of Lanaka, like you're already winning if those are in play.
Surely.
So that's one more. What's okay?
I mean, maybe
staff?
they want you to use like
So
relics
staff
and buffs of some other kind or something with it.
So, all right. So if you're looking at fragmented Waystone, it's going to be a 5/5 because the 4/4 from the weapon plus the +1, so it'll be a 6/6. So if you have just the common, we see the obelisks and things like that. Yeah. Those are all 4, right? So this thing still doesn't get flying.
No, it seems like just too much work for me to be interested.
Yeah, Ali, sorry, you're staying grounded.
Yep.
All right, this one was a new card that I didn't see spoiled. I'm kind of interested to play this one out. This is Soul Burst Scimitar. This is the +2/+4 relic weapon for 5 Justice. Enemy players can't spellcraft, which awkward because immediately you think of Sodi Spellshaper, which is seeing Throne and Expedition play, right?
I think so. It's the best one.
Problem with that though is Sodi Spellshaper with Spellcraft comes down on 4. Yeah. This costs 5. Like
that's a problem already.
What? And then Mastery 6. So if it Mastery 6, just deal 6 damage with it somehow. Play 3.
That's a nice payoff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You get 9. You get 9/6 worth of stats on the ground like that. That could do some jump blocking. That could maybe do some attacking.
You gotta have an empty board to ever get this spell mastery.
Yeah.
6
going. And then it's at 5, so I feel like armory decks just have way better things to be doing at 5.
Especially because it only has 2 attack power.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be trying to. I don't know about this one.
So if you play, so once again, let's go ahead and have them push the new cards, right? You play Conscriptor, right? Or Conscripting Traveler, what's the 3/4?
Conspicuous Traveler?
Conspicuous Traveler, thank you. I even like that card. I'm so bad at names.
It's a good one.
You play it on 4, right? You play this, so then it's going to be a 2/8 weapon if they didn't attack you or anything. And then at the end of the turn that you play it, you can't attack with it, it's going to be a 3/8. Like...
Again, it's just so much work for so little payoff, and like you're right about the timing of the spellcraft hate too. It's like,
and there's no other spellcraft deck, right? Like Muster's not a thing yet.
People have brewed some with like the weapon spellcraft for free.
Yeah. But even then, I have not seen that deck consistently enough on ladder to make me want to like even put this in the market.
I'd rather just play the enemies can't play weapons. I mean, that shuts spellcraft down too, right?
There you go. Yeah.
For the most part.
All right. Soul Burst Scimitar, sadly, you did not make the cut either.
Yeah, when I saw this in the campaign...
Oh, wow. I just winged down. That was smooth. I totally
didn't make the cut either. Perfect.
I'm on fire. Yeah.
Nice. No, like that. I was very interested in that mastery payoff. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I like took another look at the weapon. I was like, wait, that's never happening though. What?
The weapon itself inherently doesn't let you hit mastery.
Right.
It's 2 damage, but you need to hit 3 times with it.
You just got to be running mono board wipes with it to keep the board clean and just hit face for 2.
So that you once again win more. Like,
yeah, I think that's a win more card.
I really hope that they do like a Q&A. And hey, show us your thought process behind making these cards. Like I'm curious, genuinely. I'm not knocking them. I just want to see because they could be onto something. We don't know. Like they're ahead of the game. They already have the next 2 sets made. Mm-hmm. So there still could be times when this is relevant. Maybe they're going to modify the expedition format. You don't know. But right now these cards are just kind of like none of them really call out to me. Like
maybe you just have to play with a bunch of buffs. The weapons, those aren't really in expedition.
I can see that, right? War cries and stuff, like
war cries, and then there's just
just spells but then we go back to you're competing at the 5 slot,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, isn't just the Mithril Mace better than this? Because it's a 3/4, right up by itself.
Or the Hammer of Authority, I think, is another 5-drop weapon.
A 4/4, yeah. Like I feel like that's going to do more work.
And the text on that is also more relevant in most games than Spellcraft, of all things.
Fair. All right, take us into our next card, John.
Linray's Protection, 3 and a Primal for the cost there. A fast spell. You gain Aegis and draw a card. I think this is a playable card.
Playable main deck, playable market.
in certain decks, maybe either, but definitely more of a market card, I feel like. If you're expecting to really want that Aegis based on your opponent for the face Aegis, it replaces itself.
So
for 3, I mean, this is something that's like kind of a reasonable card, and especially in Expedition, there's not a ton of ways to get face Aegis. There's also not a ton of matchups where you care about that, but if we see the curse like matchup coming up more often, for example,
I'll be honest with you, I actually like this card, and I like 2 in the main, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Right off the bat, it's like it replaces itself, so I think that gives you a cushion, right? Like we play not Lynn Ray's favor, Island's favor. That gives you face Aegis and a sigil, right? This doesn't get you the sigil, and it's a fast spell. I think the fast spell part helps it. So here's the thing, right? Here's my thing. We're seeing prodigious sorcery.
Yeah.
We're seeing curses. We're seeing sabotages from the Stone Scar decks.
True.
So that's 3 decks right now that are seeing consistent play. Maybe curses being a little, but we don't know. This may change up the format. Yeah. But the fact that this is a fast spell and cycles means that you have that cushion where you can leave the power up if you assume they're going to do something next turn, right? If they're going to try to burn you out, they prodigious sorcery a torch and then hit you, you can save yourself with this and they burn their spell.
Yeah,
right?
Usually it's a snowball into a big burn spell.
Yeah. So
it comes in after the snowball.
Exactly.
That's very playable.
And we have that counter spell thing where Wisdom of Elders comes into play, where it's like, well, what happens if they don't do anything? Fine, you play it anyways in cycle. You still get the Aegis and you get to draw your card. So there's that insurance policy.
Yeah.
I don't think, because it's just drawing you a random card, I don't think you want 4. It is 3, so it's 1 more. But I do think the fact that it's fast and it draws you a card is enough of an impact on this format with 2 burn spells. Heck, it stops Joe. If they do 2 or 3 bolts to your face to draw the treasures,
it'll stop all those at once.
So I mean, hey, that's reaching, but that is a thing, right?
It's more playable than these last few cards, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually think Lynn Ray's Protection has some gameplay to it. I really do. It also helps you end of turn. It helps you set up for a weapon, right? If you're Huru control and you want to drop the knife next turn, this could protect the knife, right? Temporal control wants it, right? Because they know when they're dropping temporal, so you can do this end of turn, then drop your temporal, then pass the turn and untaps. So I think there's some interaction there. It's a good. If we're really digging deep, it counters Pride Leader somewhat, right? If you have nothing else to do, I think the draw card is what saves it. The combination of fast speed and drawing a card with just the Aegis, because the green has a version of this, right? But it's 2 power, I believe. I think protect, right?
Yeah, I think that's 2 power.
And that has some fringe play, mainly in limited, but I have seen it do some work. So this can do some work too. I think I like this at a 2 of in the main.
For most applications, you could, if you're running like counter magic, you can kind of swap this for that.
Yeah.
And it replaces itself. The other counter spell that replaces itself costs 4, right?
Yes.
Counter something, draw a card.
It might be 5.
I think that one's a 4 cost. I have the art in my mind. I can't think of the name of the card.
Because there's a Huru one and there's a Shadow one.
I'm thinking of the just Primal one.
Yeah.
4 and 2 Primal. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
So yeah, actually,
I've never played it.
Yeah, so actually, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Lynn Ray's Protection, or you can catch us streaming live every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and come talk to us and chat about it. We'd love to hear what you think on Lynn Ray's Protection. So did I sell you on it or no?
Yeah, like I was already willing to try it in the main of some decks, but like I think this is one I'm gonna test out in some decks for sure.
My problem with having this in the market is that like I just don't see myself taking it very often, right? Like I feel like your market's gonna have stronger cards that you would prefer to take over this.
It's true.
That's my concern.
Like I run just like an unseal in a lot of my markets, so it's like a consideration in that slot in some of those decks is what I was thinking. But
okay.
Yeah, I think you're right about the main deck applications.
All right, next one we have Liss, Champion of Lynn Ray, which is obviously the Primal one. This is the one that's starting to make waves and constructed.
All over these today.
I'm rocking it, man. All right, so this is 6/6 for 6, triple Primal. She's a mage, so I don't think any of these unit types have mattered thus far, I don't think.
No, they've been classic unit types though.
Yeah.
For fantasy games.
Yeah.
Like Rogue, Mage, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really, minus like Yeti and Unseen and Minotaur, really seen a big support for stuff just yet, but obviously Eternal's still young. So at the end of your turn, the player of your choice discards their hand, then draws that many cards. So at the end of your turn, to include the turn you play her, so there's a bonus right there, right? You get to do it somewhat immediately if they don't have the fast spell ready. And then you get to choose. So you can say either yourself or your opponent. And then if you have 4 cards in hand, you discard those 4 cards and you draw 4 new cards. So offensively, so you want to target your opponent A when you think they're holding up stuff, right? If they have removal spells and stuff, you're like, you know what? It gives them the equal amount of cards. So you're not capitalizing on card advantage, but you are taking out potential cards.
Especially if they went to market.
Yeah, if they went to the market, if they scouted to the top. Things like that. If they have 8 power and they haven't played 3 cards in their hand, you know, things like that. And then of course to avoid, like, if you like your hand, because you have to do it. Right. It says someone has to do it. Yes. So that's that cushion where if you really like your hand, you're like, man, I like what I have. You're gonna make them do it. And then of course the flip side to that is when your hand, now you might want to sandbag some sigils, because then you could ship those for extra cards and keep your hand nice and fueled. This also is a good way of fueling Reanimator, putting a bunch of cards in your void, as well as spells in your void, milling. So there's some secondary applications to this. What do you think about Liz?
Well, I like that she has real stats compared to the other ones so far, so that's a big positive.
Yeah, the Primal card.
Yeah, of all things. I'm not sure about like this ability, right? Like you mentioned like Reanimator decks. Well, by the time you're at 6 power, you're already trying to get your payoff in Reanimator decks usually. So I feel like it's too late for that, right?
I mean, it could be an insurance policy, right? Because how many times have you seen? There have been times where I've played against Reanimator and they get the grasp on 5, but they don't have Azendel in their void, or they don't have 2 Fel Rocks, right? And that's some additional application here is where Fel Rock, the Frost, and the Nameless one all would trigger off of this, right? Without paying the cost.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of dubious about the effect on this one and like the cost. I don't know. It's
kind of scary, right? That it's not a May.
Right. That yeah, exactly. Like there's gonna be times where you don't want to do it to yourself or your opponent. Or like you thought you wanted to do it to the opponent until they got a new grip and it was just exactly what they needed. Like, I mean, that's just an RNG thing.
I mean, there's also, if you play it in Feln, you can gift them and then just make them discard at the end of your turn. They don't have anything, so it's free that way. But of course, you're talking about a 6 and a 7. Yeah. Though, I mean, that could work too.
I kind of thought about that at one point when I first saw this card, but I don't know, like.
Or Elysian with Teacher Humility in this is nice.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Now you're piquing my interest.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm trying to think. Like, this is definitely some kind of build around card. What else? That's the best one I've heard for sure.
So Elysian has Teacher, and now you're making everything expensive. Feln, you have that mill card that it deals damage to them for every time they drew or discard. This hits them on both ends.
Okay. So it's got some build around applications.
So if you put that, if I believe that card is every additional card you draw and every additional card you discard. So if you play this on them and have that curse on them, it hits them twice.
Are you talking about that Stone Scar relic?
Yeah.
Right?
Because it makes, so let's say they have 3 cards in hand, right? They discard 3 and they drew 3. So they're going to take 6 at the end of that turn.
Is that
Brimstone? No, that's the one that makes them sack. Right? But it has that skinny face demon on it.
Again, got the picture in my head.
Okay. All right. So I mean, that's got some applications.
So it has some,
and I'm not that much of a brewer.
Yeah, no, those are some good ones. Like, I'm definitely willing to do some trial stuff with this, just because it's an actual body. Like that's a much better starting point than these other champions. So
I think the strength here is the body is good, right? I mean, it doesn't have overwhelm, it doesn't have flying, it doesn't have protection. So that makes, but it's still a 6/6 for 6.
It's a reasonable defensive body.
And then the other thing is that you get the ability right away. So second to worst case scenario, you play it, you pitch your 2 extra power that you're sandbagging or your irrelevant removal spell, and then get to see 3 fresh cards plus the 4th, or the next card when you draw your turn. And so I think there's enough. Now let me do this. Is it a 4 of, or is it like a 2 or 3 of for you?
Because it's so expensive, and I mean, stacking this ability, what does that do for you? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
Or
no,
does it?
Yeah.
Will it cycle it multiple times at the end?
It'll
of the turn,
probably,
I wonder?
yeah. It would probably go like that, which sounds absolutely atrocious to me.
Yeah, I mean, just at the start, probably a 2 of, or even possibly a market card. If this is like a big part of your strategy.
Unless you think she's gonna get killed, and because the thing is, she mills her copies away, right? So if you play 1 and it sticks, you draw discard yourself, and you can just pitch the extra 1.
Yeah.
What?
No, that's totally possible. I don't know. I'm just like still just a little on the fence about this one, but I mean, you've convinced me to at least give it a try.
Let me throw one more scenario at you, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I guess 2. Well, they're the same, but turn 4 or turn 5, right? Either Jotun Feastcaller or Rost, and then this guy on turn 6, or this gal. I mean, what's up? And then how far? I mean, this thing also can help you get to your power to play Scourge on 10. I know that's a faraway dream, but do you like her in a prodigious sorcery deck?
No way. She's a unit. Yuck.
Fair. All right. Fair. All right. There you have it. All right. So we got some breakdown on lists. I'm glad I'm glad I get to play devil's advocate. All right. Speaking of units, go ahead and break down Aramot's designs for us.
Sure. So Aramot's designs, sweet artwork. 2 in a shadow, slow spell. Kill each unit with cost 2 or less. Yeah, that seems pretty playable, especially in Expedition.
Yeah. So a slightly worse, actually, just a strictly worse Defiance is the floor, right? Pay 2, slow speed, kill a 2. Now, granted, it doesn't have to be attacking, but sometimes that's the important thing. But so bottom line, it kills a 2-cost unit, right? A 2 or 1 drop. Best case scenario, you know what? You're getting a 5 for 1.
That's best case, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do realistically 3 for 1, right? Probably is what we're looking at.
That sounds pretty ideal.
Yeah. So a 3 for 1, right? Now, of note, it just says 2 cost or less, so it doesn't care what it looks like when it kills it. Doesn't matter if it's carrying a Caleb's Persuader.
No.
It doesn't matter if it's been pumped to be a 7/8. I'm trying to think of what else we can think of. I mean, yeah, I guess that's it, right? It doesn't matter. It kills it.
Yeah, or just pops the Aegis if that's applicable.
Does Varret change casting cost when he shifts?
That is something I do not actually know.
Let me look that up. So go ahead and
Mighty Varret the Wise.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me look this up and go ahead and talk some more about designs while I look it up real quick.
Sure. I think like Defiance, this wouldn't be. This would be more of like a 2 of in a deck you're trying to run it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. This is more like a meta call than anything, right? If you're just running into a bunch of aggro decks, this goes way up in value. Because aggro decks tend to play critical mass of 1 and 2 drops, right? They're trying to get out there early and often. This just hoses them. So at the same time, when this is in a format, that's gonna scare away some people from even playing aggro decks. So it's really just like, what are you running into on the ladder? Whether you're going to be playing any or how many copies of a card like this. And if you're running Justice, you might just decide that you prefer the flexibility of like Alliance instead. But if you're just Shadow or short on playable things in that slot, you'd probably be looking to play this.
Yeah.
What'd you find out about Varret?
Yep, Varret stays as a
Stays 2. That's interesting.
So it will kill Varret. It will kill
not the Aegis version, but
yeah, kill Varret, kill Shenra, kill Intrepid Longhorn, kill Outcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of 1s and 2s that I've been running into in both Throne and Expedition.
Kill Whelp.
Yeah.
What else? What else is Fire running?
the new
kills half the Onis.
the
Artisan.
fire champion we looked at a
Yeah,
minute ago.
yeah. There you go.
Edna?
So yeah,
What's her name? Endra.
Endra. Edna, I like that.
Oh.
Well, technically, Endra is another well-casted or well-statted unit. So it's just the two factions that care about the units the most have the worst statted units. Got it.
Yeah.
Pushing the color pie, even though
I don't know. That's pretty playable. Like, how many what do you think? You think it's like this is the kind of card that kind of like warps a format in some ways, right?
I kind of honestly feel this is a 4 of because you really want it early.
As soon as decks are running like 4 ofs, though, you're just going to stop seeing as much aggro as a strategy.
And you just gotta wait. But the thing is that it gives you access to the market as well. Like, I'm perfectly okay having this in my opening hand, and when I don't, I just ship it to the market. Mm-hmm. In constructed, we may see, if we see a rise in tokens again, praxis tokens, some kind of go wide strategy. Rats. This does work with rats. Sure. But yeah, I think right now, I think I can see it about 3 of, maybe a 3 of. I think that's fine. The thing about Defiance is a little more reactive because you need them to be attacking. That being said, it does still hit everything that's attacking versus this doesn't. Mm-hmm. So actually, you know what? Maybe it is a 2 of.
Like, I've been running 2 Defiance.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, actually, yeah, you sold me on it. This needs to be a 2 of.
It's a good place to start anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And then it's more meta dependent than anything, whether it's good or not.
And then of course, single shadow influence. That's something
nice and easy.
Yeah. All right, let's go into the shadow champion, which is Kuro, champion of Makar. This is a 3/3 for 3 double shadow and quick draw. So serviceable aggro unit. So right there, 3/3 quick draw for 3. I mean, is this taking the spot of anything in Stone Scar, right? Because that's only the deck that would play this guy, right? Like,
well, Expedition.
Winchest doesn't want him.
It might have some spots, right, in some decks, but yeah, I mean, if you're talking about throne decks,
I mean, does Cultist doesn't want this guy? Right?
I mean, like, ignore the curses or fast part. Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm talking about just the stats right now, because
quick draw 3/3. I mean, you're obviously gonna be prioritizing Incarnus. I know it's not a 3 drop. But...
Well, you have Champion, you have Rista, and you have what's the other 3 drop? Well, there's Vishni, but there's the other 3 drop that I'm drawing a blank on now. Obviously, the Smugglers and Merc. Yeah, I feel like it's a solid card, but it's just highly contested. And then plus, Shadow has 2 3/3s, or a 3/2 and a 3/3 at 2. Mm-hmm. Well, heck, if you count Cabal Repeater, which they're not running, but if you count it, that's 3 attacks on 2 that Shadow can play. So I think statted wise, it's not bad, but I just don't think it's going to see play just because there's better options. Mm-hmm. Moving on, it does say I have some additional text. So we have your curses are fast. So I was trying to think of best case scenario, and I personally got hyped up on this card because best case scenario mentality, and I was like, man,
curses are fun.
Yeah,
fast curses got to be even more fun, right?
Exactly, right. Wanted poster into choice, create caltrops.
It's all just kind of like, I mean, you definitely want to do, for example, caltrops on your turn though.
Yeah, right? because you don't want them to play
they have a chance to just play what you were going to caltrops anyway. So things like that, it's like, no. But I mean, there's some cheeky fun stuff you can do with fast curses, but it's mostly like win more type stuff in my head, right?
Yeah, because even Enroute just made a really good point where even if you do wanted poster and Linrai's choice or Perul's choice to destroy it, you probably want to draw those extra cards on your turn to make sure you can capitalize on stuff.
Especially if you have extra power open, you definitely do.
So
there's a chance you can deploy more threats right then and there.
Yeah, and then, obviously Kodos sees all, you want to play on your turn, so it triggers on theirs. So the best case scenario that I could see for this, which is one of the reasons I got excited for it, is you have this, and then at the end of their turn, you hit them with Azendel's gift, right?
Yeah, because that's like a dream scenario.
Because they, instead of seeing the gift coming and they try to empty out their hand, they might leave up a trick or something. Mm-hmm. So they have that small window of playing something before the discard happens, but so you have the chance to get them, but are you really getting them?
Maybe.
And then plus, once again,
gift would probably do just as much at the normal play time.
Yeah, so
they might get one more card out of their hand,
Yeah.
because they know it's coming, but again, it's like it all just seems kind of win more, I guess.
So the other benefit, the other best case scenario for this, which did come to mind, is the complete opposite of the spectrum. So instead of having a 7-drop, permafrost.
That can take something out of combat.
Exactly.
That's a relevant ability.
Leaving one power up is easy.
Yeah.
So I think that honestly is probably the biggest appeal to this guy, but I don't think it's enough, especially when in Expedition we're seeing a ton of hourglass.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
even like, I'm not gonna lie, anytime I see time on the other side of the field, I just go ahead and plan on putting my permafrost in the market. I don't even play them.
Yep.
I just don't. Because I'm like, we're throwing away a card.
Even Justice, like if it's an aggro deck, they're running Blaze Siege in the market at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Plus those at will, and then they can sneak attack you out of nowhere. So you just can't rely on those permafrosts.
And then throwing you have Pride Leader, so it just I think Kuro is gonna have to take the bench on this one right now. It just,
the mastery ability is kind of sweet, but you're just drawing them. It's not just completely busted or anything. But I mean, if you get it out on 3, you probably can get the mastery going. But if you got it out on 3, what 3 units do you have in your void? Hopefully none, or maybe 1 by then. Like
if you're in Feln and you're using list to fill your void.
Yeah. Maybe if you're doing maybe some elf stuff where you're trying to get up to
self mill.
Yeah, to I forget her name, Acantha, I think. So maybe you are playing elves that do
shenanigans,
some drawing and discarding, and so in that case, maybe it has a place in like a Feln Elves deck of some kind.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs a little too much setup. Like, I think the biggest chance that Kuro had to get played was you wanting the 3/3 for 3 quick draw.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's just doesn't seem like a solid place for it right now. I mean, even on defense, it just trades with too many units.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
A bunch of 2-drops.
Yeah, true story.
Even.
All right, moving on. Sadly, the champions are not really doing well, man. They were able to fight off Aramont, but they're not going to break into standard, which Aramont couldn't break into standard either, or constructed. So I guess 2 peas in the pod. They're all fighting the JV fight. All right, moving on. We have Soul Watcher Tota. This is a 2/2 for 4 Praxis. While Soul Watcher Tota is in your hand, deck, or void, if it would get attack and health, it gets double that amount. So if you Warcry 1, it gets a +2/+2. If you Ghost Tutor it with the Rise to the Challenge, it gets +4/+0.
Yeah, so there was some of that going on in the campaign deck, right?
Yes.
So I tried to have some fun with this card in one of those campaign battles, and it was bugged. Like, Chant to Grodov literally did not work when I played.
Oh, no kidding.
It did nothing. It didn't buff it at all.
Yeah. Huh.
So, and that's supposed to be +1 and Overwhelm. It literally gave it nothing. It was still just a 2/2 in my hand. So there's some kind of bug with this card right now. Which is really unfortunate, but that being...
Yeah, we can't really go off of that because obviously that's not as intended.
But
so
that totally ruined the fun I tried to have with it already.
Yeah. So let's finish reading it so you understand why it costs 4. Summon, play a Totmite with Soul Watcher's Dota's attack and health and all battle skills, right? So baseline, ground floor, you're getting 4/4 worth of stats for 4 across 2 bodies, which sometimes could be better, sometimes could be worse. The problem is this thing's in Praxis, right? So, I mean, here's I have a question for you. If you play this with Obelisk in play, does the Totmite come in as a 3/3 and then get the additional +1, or does it come in as a 2/2 and get the +1?
No, it like if you already have an Obelisk in play, and let's say you're at 4 or 5 power, so it's not double buffed.
It's just a +1/+1.
Yeah, it should come in as a 3/3, and then it should play a 3 in addition to. Well, I guess the second one
will be a 4/4.
Would be a 4/4.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. All right. So
that makes sense to me. I would think that's how it's.
I think so as well because of the way the game works. But I could be wrong. I think that's how it works.
So that's a good application for it.
The problem is the thing is it's in Praxis. Like, so if you're getting Warcry, it's going to be off of the fire side, and I don't think Praxis. I've seen a Praxis deck that cares about Warcry, right?
No.
So what are the other ways that you can pump this in your? I mean, once again, draw strength is not in constructed right now. And it's Justice. So what in Praxis makes...
This wants you to build some kind of deck with... What's that? That other Tota that's like a 2/6? and then puts Totemites in your hand when it gets its mastery off. Like it wants to be with cards like that, and it also like wants to be with things like in the campaign, right? Like chant a Grodog and things like that. But
I mean, I keep saying deck, but it does say void in hand, right? So but what are you seeing constructed right now that's doing anything other than like the Wisp deck or some niche shadow? And once again, that's shadow. The deck that I've seen that pumps their graveyard or their void is a shadow deck.
I think all those cards are shadow.
Yeah, so like, are they just kind of trying to expand certain things in the color wheel? But like, there's just no support. I don't understand. Plus, so
this one's for the Brewers, I guess.
So what amount of stats on this guy would you be happy? Would you want like +1/+1 deadly, so you get 2/3/3 deadly guys? And how would you even go about doing that? Like it would have to get Inspire.
This reminds me of that card, that like promo Milos, and that really didn't see any play. You know, that's like another kind of build around buff card.
Yes, there you go. Yes, that's really a great example. Yep. Yeah.
And, like some people I barely tried to brew with it, but some other people more successfully tried, and none of those decks took off. Like none of them were very powerful. It was kind of fun, but
anytime you have a lot of unit based synergies, you run the risk of a board wipe or just a really well placed removal just having it crumble. I don't think it's gonna do work. I really don't. You know what's crazy is a lot of these campaign cards, I wish they were in the draft formats. They won't do that because that goes against the whole point of paying for the campaign.
Like you said this would be a good limited card, and I'm looking at a bunch of these going, these would be kind of fun and limited.
Was it the last campaign or the one before that where I felt like they were, like some of these cards, I'm like, put them in limited, which mind you, they're going to be in my cube. Some are. So every Sunday, do cube drafting. So definitely, there's one way to play them in limited.
But these will never be in draft or anything.
Yeah, no, it goes, like I said, why would you pay for it if you can draft it? So Soul Watcher Tota, sorry, you guys are going to stay in the sun. All right. I know, I'm trying.
That's too much.
That one's not as good. It's just you stay in the shade. Anywho.
Yeah, there you go.
This card, I wasted my energy earlier. I wasted my good wit. All right, Zealous Artisan. I actually want to brew with this card. I think this card is spicy. Maybe not. I don't know. I think this belongs in an Extend Shell. I'll tell you why in a moment. But anywho.
Okay.
3/3 Oni for 5 fire, justice. It has Exalted, but summon, play a weapon from your hand on Zealous Artisan. So it just cheats out costs, straight up. You pay this at 5, you can get any kind of weapon in your hand on this bad boy. Bad girl. Anything, doesn't matter. So
it has to go on it.
But it has Exalted.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a cushion there. So I like this in Ixten. Which actually, now I think about it, there are some cards. I want to put Aegis on it, is my thing. I want to put Aegis on it, but, I mean...
It's an Oni, so...
I mean, you can even, like, okay, let's go back to Rakano Sharpshooter, Highland Sharpshooter, right? You can play this for 5, and it automatically plays Warhelm on it, and becomes a 4/3 charging Warcry. And if they block it, it dies, it gives something else... Warcry plus a +4/+3, and the charge is a little less relevant, but
it says just too much setup, I think, for my taste.
I don't think so. I really don't.
You gotta have, in that case, you want another unit on the board. You gotta have that weapon. In
I mean,
hand,
that's it. I mean, that's if you're going, like, you're in Rakano, right? You're in Rakano. You're gonna have something on the board.
Hopefully, this thing's just work right already.
That too. So. And like I said, I was just talking about the charge thing for that scenario, right? There's an option there. I think where this value is when you're cheating on cost to the extreme, right?
So if weapon
for like example, Halberd comes to mind, where you give it a +4/+4.
Okay.
That's another 5-drop, right?
There's also the newer one that's a legendary, the foil, Zolta foil.
Yeah, that silences something right off the bat. I like that. So you're getting value. Yep. Another one I like is, believe it or not, the mirror image shield from Primal.
Okay.
That's 7 or 6 and then 7 if you spellcraft it, because then it makes it a 4/6 with Aegis.
You should be able to do any additional spellcraft once the weapon's out, right?
If you have the power for it,
right?
Yeah,
you should be able to. Yeah. So,
but I'm thinking about on curve with this, right? And that so here once again, I'm giving a little bit of value to play testing. being like they had the choice of making this a 3-4, a 4-4, a 5-5, a 2-2, and they settled on 3-3, right? So I think if you have I think I might even be happy with like 8 weapons in my deck, right? 4 blades and 4 of the shield, right? And the shield is good because the shield gives all your valuable units Aegis, and if you have the extra power, you make a copy of it. And now you're playing this. Now you're playing a 4-6 with Aegis and Exalted on turn 5.
I was also thinking, you know, it's like, since it's an Oni, you might be playing it in some kind of Oni deck. So you could have maybe that bargain Aegis, ready to go. So maybe is that 1 or 2?
One.
It's 1. So like 6 power available. You could attack with an Oni, you know, play this, get the Aegis on it. I guess the weapon comes out first, but you know, it should all be before the opponent really has a chance to respond.
Let's see real quick. I think it's just a matter of what you can capitalize, right?
I think it has some applications.
Let's look. Let's take a look right quick. Right, we're looking at weapons.
You kind of convinced me. Like, normally expensive weapons are not something I'm
actually, you know what?
on, but...
And I'm not. You're right, because I mean, granted, it's not Magic. You have the chance now where there's no window, correct? You can play it. Let's look at legendary and rare just to get the busted stuff, right? So Caleb Persuader, we're not excited about.
It's okay.
That's let's see. These are relics. Let's see what we got going. All right, you can get a scepter for free, right? That makes it a 5-4, and you get a free Oni out of it.
Yeah, and the ability would pass on with the Exalted.
The Exalted, yeah. All right, and these are cheap. So now let's go see what we do when we cheat costs. So we go up top. So awkward that I had to pick. Wonder if I could just do weapon. Let's see. Carpus. I mean, okay.
Divining Rod?
Yeah.
Hello.
There we go. Now I like the way you're talking.
Nice to see you.
With Exalted.
Yeah. Or Warcry. Well, no.
You get a free. There you go. You get a free Vanquisher Blade, right? I mean, you have to have 8 now because you only save on the 2.
That less good.
Let's see.
Yeah, Divining Rod could be spicy within some kind of Exalted deck.
Yeah, I like Divining Rod actually. That's pretty good.
Now I want to brew.
Divining Rod, I like where you're going with that. Zoltan Foil, all right.
Yeah, that's just a good one.
Regent Blade.
I come from an expedition perspective with a lot of my brewing because that's what I've brewed most for.
Oh, here you go. Valkyrie
Wings.
Wings. That's it. That's the money right there. It's in the colors you want. It gives it evasion. It gives it protection. That's where you want it.
I tried brewing some decks with that at the beginning of the expedition format, and it was just too expensive.
So a 5/7 flyer with Aegis on turn 5?
Sign me up.
With Exalted.
Yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay. And it's already in one of the 2 colors.
Gleaming Shield, like I said, that's the one. Aegis.
And that's just a single Primal. I was thinking it was 2, so. But I don't think that one's an expedition in particular, but...
Lethrai Falchion, if you're in Winchest, right?
That's a good one.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. It's just a free plate. Deep Forge plate. I mean, it doesn't give it protection, but it's still free. And like I said, the Exalted
is a good weapon.
Yeah, that's really strong. And Hubbard, I mean, you could, I guess if you played it at 7, so you could still play Bar the Gates, right? That protects it. Ooh, Stand Together.
So that's just an additional 2. Yeah, a lot of these spellcraft weapons with the cheaper spellcraft are looking pretty legit.
I mean, this one's completely off colors, but that would have, now you're in Magical Christmas Land. Right. I mean, unless you're just running Cerso's Cleaver to combo off with that guy.
I think Valk Wings was one of the best things we looked at just because of the Aegis on
it.
No,
that for sure. It gives it evasion and gives it protection, I think, and a reasonable stat. Legit. So yeah, I actually like it. I think it could do some work.
Oh, you've convinced me.
The free part is what really does it. I mean, there are going to be times where...
Can we break this?
Yeah, it really is. All right, let's move on. Zealous Artisans, you got a shot, buddy. I got faith in you. All right, this is a card that you picked up on pretty early. Let's go ahead and you can go ahead and take this one.
Sure. Spitflame Draconis, 6 Fire Primal, and then the stats are a 6/7 flyer. And then it also reads pay 4 to deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. If it has endurance, kill it. Okay. Summon, stun an enemy unit. It stays stunned while you have Spitflame Draconis. So that's a lot of good text on that guy.
Yeah, for real. It's throwing down.
So like one of the big things I can already just kind of see about this is it's just bigger than every other dragon that people are playing for the most part. And this is mostly again from an expedition perspective.
Actually, it is bigger. There's no. I mean, is there even a bigger dragon in the game?
I don't think so.
I think they were all 6/6s,
Right.
or the permafrost dragon is a 6/7.
Yeah,
so even
there's
then
like
they
a
just
7/3 or 7/4 or whatever too. It's very top heavy, but like 6/7 means like the only damage removal that can kill this is basically Ice Bolt, which is not in Expedition except on the site. So that's like this is like a good looking unit just on the surface. You know, as far as like a giant flying threat, like this is going to outclass most things that your opponents are playing.
Well, even if they permafrost it, you could still do the activate ability.
Yeah, it doesn't require it to be exhausted to do it or anything. So if it has endurance, kill it. Like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of basically any time deck, especially in Expedition, is running endurance.
Yeah,
between the hourglass or just the armadillo.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so good. You just sit there machine gun, like cool, thanks.
I mean, it's pay 4 to do it, but like once per turn or maybe twice on a turn later in the game, like that's fine. And then stun a unit, it stays stunned, like that's Anaya's ability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah,
this just seems like a pretty solid unit.
And Throne, it gets rid of Sandstorm Titan. Yeah. I mean, it could block it and tussle with Titan on its own.
Yeah, it's actually big enough to just attack into it for once, like not most flyers are. I don't know. This seems pretty legit.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I like this card. I'm with you.
I've been seeing some just Skycrag Dragon decks being played recently. It's not a big thing yet, but this opens up that as a more of a possibility for a strong deck, I think.
Yeah, no, this card just seems really powerful to me. I think even if you just want it for GP, like, you know what, I want my Skycrag deck to have a finisher, I'm putting 2 of these in it, I think you're fine. Like, this card does a lot. Of note, it does say an enemy unit, so it doesn't go face. Just something to think about as far as the 1 net damage. You never know when that becomes relevant.
Spitflame is way too powerful, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Is that the name of that?
Spitfire, I think it is. So.
Yeah.
Close. I mean, Spitflame. So yeah, I like it.
The dragon.
So finally, we hit some multi-faction cards that really kind of stood out to us. Finally,
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. Let's go ahead and.
I mean, that one's not going to require too much, like just brewing or anything.
Oh yeah,
like it's a very straightforward card. But it seems playable.
Just straight up good. Just throw it in your deck. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Dakas, Ancient Flame, which the computer silenced on me before I got a chance to use it.
Yuck.
Yeah, 5/3 dragon for 4 Stone Scar, so fire and shadow. Flying, overwhelm, so not bad on a 5/3. Entomb, you may sacrifice a unit to draw Dakos from your void. So of course another Stone Scar typical sack for value thing. So it kind of has immortalized. You just got to make sure you have some cannon fodder to it, right?
You can only do that as it dies.
Correct. Yeah, so you can't bring it back later.
Future turn or anything. Is there like? I mean, I've seen a lot of more build around looking cards for a deck like that, like Dragon Sacrifice. But I haven't seen a functional deck with that as the theme, and I don't know that this is the card that deck needs.
So, a couple of things, right? So we've had Dread Hellkite in both formats, and it hasn't seen play. And it's a 4/3.
It's the 4/3.
Yeah, 4/3 for 4 that can attack. Right. That one has Deadly. This one has Overwhelm. So I think you worry the Entomb has to be the icing on the cake. You actually just want to look at the base stats. The 5/3 flyer, Overwhelm for 4. Right. What's it competing with? Vara, Incarnus. Right. Vara and Incarnus are the 2 that come to mind. What's another 4-drop that we're looking at now? What else is Shadow running? I feel like there's one more 4-drop.
The big 2 I can think of.
Like, if you're running this, you just rather run The 5/5, right? The dread
Verone, it just dies to torch. So.
Yeah. Well, that was gonna be my last point, was the fact that the 3 power dies to conflagrate, dies to torch.
Yeah.
Granted, now once again, well, yeah, I guess
What's that Stone Scar promo that they had? Right? Doesn't that have some when it dies buff dragons? The cultists.
Oh, you know what? I don't think anyone even brewed with it, so I don't even remember. You might be right.
We can look at it in your client.
Yeah.
Just to see if that's a thing. I can't remember the name. Like 2 power Stone Scar in a promo.
You wanted her to you want her to destroy herself or whatever to buff.
When you sack it to that dragon, I forget exactly how it's worded.
Oh, I see where you're going with. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It's worth looking.
Why not? Why is it? What am I missing? Shadow. It's a promo.
It's owned. Maybe you didn't get it.
Oh no, I did get. Oh, attachments. That's what it was. There's always something. Vero banished Inquisitor.
No,
nope.
It's the Stone.
Oh no, there you go. Yeah. Draco Witch Rosga 2/2 for 2.
Play a dragon.
When you play a dragon, sacrifice Rosga to double it. Okay, at the start of your turn, if you have, no, it doesn't work. I see where you're going, but yeah.
I thought maybe I haven't played with this myself. So. No, I don't know.
The Entomb thing is just icing on the cake, but I think it's just, once again, it's not powerful enough, which is one of the issues that design is having with making cards. It's just there's too many things in the format that are already better than it, so it's hard to push them out.
I'm not sure if that's even anything an expedition deck is looking for, really.
I mean, it's a dragon, right? So it triggers Kozin.
It's another name.
yeah. There's
not many in that 4 slot.
There's some stuff, and then plus if you technically Dragon Forge for it, it's a 3 cost dragon.
True.
I don't know. I want to like this card. I think it has some applications, but I also am not like jumping up for joy on it.
To get the Entomb, having to sacrifice a unit, that's really like a build around cost.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just not sure about this one.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Moving on, we have Hagar, Armory Warden. A 0/8 for 3 time Justice. Not very excited about this. The Minotaur. Let's move on. We already have an 0/5 for 2 in the form of Seraph. We don't need any more big butt units.
I tried to brew with this already.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I was going to. All right,
I've already tried.
Oh, all right. So you can take it once I break it down. 1 attack for each of your other Minotaurs. When you play another unit, just a unit period, it deals its attack in damage to Hagar. Okay, so I guess you're not playing.
Looks like it's Harga.
Oh yeah. Wait. Oh yeah. Right. Thank you. My bad.
No
Dyslexic apparently. Harga. Yeah. Wow. And Mastery 8, mind you, it's a 0 attack unit. Mastery 8, your Minotaurs get a +2/+2 and killer though. That's kind of spicy, right? Especially with the rare Minotaur that has revenge on it, that buffs your team. So, all right, what's up? What's up, John?
This had enough on it where I was like, you know what? I'm going to mess around with this. So I've already tried to do a little brewing, right? It's screaming, Shard or Yisha, right? Because of the 0/8.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first place I went with it. Having a 8/8 for 3 is pretty legit.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start doing, or read that second line, that gets a little sketchy. So, I tried brewing with the Plate Maker, for example.
Okay.
And it's a 2/5 or 2/4 for its base set. Is it 2/5?
Oh, Plate Maker, yeah, 2/4.
So, except the problem is you want to play this once you have Shard or Yisha, right? So this thing's an 8/8. And then when you play Plate Maker,
it's a 4/4 double damage.
So it just kills it.
Yeah.
Because the double damage counts, because the unit deals its damage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was not great. And then, if you want to deploy, because it's so cheap, you tend to want to deploy multiple things per turn. And you're like, I can't. It'll kill it.
Yeah.
So, and then, as far as the Minotaur text, if you try to play this without that shard or whatever, it's hard to make that attack relevant with enough other Minotaurs. And so
and plus Minotaurs are typically, no, I guess not, I guess they are Combray. I was thinking Argentport, but yeah, there's a decent amount of them in Combray as well.
Yeah, there's not that many though in Expedition. I found that I ended up maybe going half my creatures Minotaurs, because you just if you're doing shard stuff, you gotta play Seraph, and you gotta there's just other things that you want up and down the curve that aren't just Minotaurs.
And even then, that's the tough part about Yisha, right?
That's the 5/5 one that does the shard ability.
The tough thing about that is that if you go all in on her, because I tried brewing with her from the get-go, if you go all in on her, then you make a deck that just is subpar without her.
Right.
So it's that, like, tit for tat. How far do you want to go down that avenue? Because, yeah, you can make a really busted deck every time she's in play and stays in play. But let's be honest, most people look at her and be like, no.
Yeah, and so the mastery just doesn't even become that relevant because you end up not going straight Minotaurs, and then, like, you're limited to what Minotaurs you can play and win because they'll accidentally kill Harga.
Yeah.
And then you have to also get, like, a huge attack off.
And they have to be in play when her mastery triggers.
Yeah, so it's just so much to ask for. So I don't know. Like I said, I was excited to try with this one. I've already kind of tried, but I've already kind of been deflated.
No, I think you're right. I think the setup cost is too much. I just don't understand the lore behind this card either. Why are the units doing damage to her? You know what I mean? Like, I could see it if it was a fighting back thing.
Block horns, I guess. I don't know.
See, and that's
all your units are supposed to be Minotaurs.
See, and that's the thing that was initially might have enticed me a little bit, is because I thought it was like a fight effect. So they came into play, like, make her an 8/1 or something, or a 2/8. 2/8, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, if that helped trigger her mastery.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I thought at first.
Yeah, so they fight her, but she fights them, and she gets her mastery.
Unfortunately,
but
no.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah, all right.
Ultimately,
Hagar,
somebody might
Harga.
find something to do there, but I did not.
Harga, another miss. Swing and a miss. All right, there was a lot of hype about this card. I don't see it personally. Storm Tamer's Mount is a 1/1 elemental, even though it looks like a Durgan, for 2 Elysian.
Do you like the art?
Yeah, art's pretty saucy. It's kind of cool because the wings look like more water, obviously. That's
what they're going for, I think.
Yeah, I got you. Flying in ambush, so on a 1/1 that's not very impressive. Typically you want to see that with deadly, like Scorpion Wasp. But summon, Storm Tamer's Mount is invulnerable to damage this turn. So it can kill an X1 and stay alive itself.
Or be a 1-unit fog.
Yeah, true, fair. Meaning that 1 unit deals no damage that turn.
Right. So it shuts down some opposing mastery stuff for that one turn, or just gets you out of one big swing when it comes in, or kills something.
Mastery 5, your flying units get ages, so it doesn't even get a stat bonus.
Mastery 5
on a 1/1 with no additional, like,
yuck.
Yeah, no, I think this card is just F, right? I can't think of a niche. It doesn't do anything relevant.
I mean, what do you need for this to be decent, right? Like
to me, this guy's competing with the Kirin, the Combre 1/3 with lifesteal, mastery +2/+2, and breaks a weapon or attachment when it comes into play. Like, that card does it all, and then this card is just like, meh.
Yeah, it falls flat, right?
It's like, you're not even doing anything if you end of turn it. Like, haha, 1/1 flyer, booyah! It's like, okay, what are you doing with that?
I mean, like, I guess throwing a spell shaper on it next turn, so it'll take, it'll have the one where it blocked for 1 mastery and then 2 damage for 2 turns.
And it's an X1. How many X1s die in this format? A ton.
Like, one of the ones you care about the most doesn't care about getting ambushed, right? Shenra? You don't care.
Yeah, no, I'm off of it. I mean, I was never on it.
Scorpion Wasp actually kills everything pretty much, except Shenra also.
Oh, I mean, Shinra's just, she keeps to herself. She's quiet.
So, I don't know.
I don't like it. I'm good moving on. You?
Let's go.
All right, sweet. Sunset Stone. It is a relic for 3-time shadow. Your elves have a +1/+1 and endurance. So it kind of nombos with the Spitfire Hellkite from earlier, but it's pretty cool to see another pump for elves, right? That's cool. Endurance is quite good too, honestly, because some of the elves have some size to them.
So this, I mean, if you're in time already, this could just replace the market slot already for the hourglass. Right?
Oh, versus Clockwork Tower or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of fills both roles as long as you're in some kind of elves deck. Yeah. Now, are there that many elves in Xenon?
Not that I
know
recall.
There's some. I know Shadow's got elves. Like, in my mind, elves are more Feln, but like, I know Borderlands Lookout is a 1-drop elf in time, but I don't know how many others there are, especially in Expedition.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out real quick. I mean, obviously, yeah, found. All right, so there's...
This is all of them in the game?
Apparently.
So the only one not in Expedition is Temple Artisan, which,
Yeah, so there's really just two. There's Borderland and there's Courier.
I mean, I do like me some Left-Right Courier.
That being said, though, I mean, it could be a splash. Like, it could easily just splash the time and still be, firmly enfound.
It still buffs Primal Elves, even though they're not in that color. It just says elves.
So that's the first one, right? And obviously, because it's only tribal specific is why it's 3 instead of 4. Mm-hmm. And obviously 2 color instead of 1, or faction. It has some additional text, which is why I think I like this card, which is once per turn, you may pay 5, though, that is expensive, to draw 2 elves from the top 5 cards of your deck, then discard the rest. So there's some late game application there, right? Yeah. 5 is a lot, but in an aggro deck, when you're tapped out, you played your hand, you got nothing left. This is typically when a deck can stabilize and kind of start turning the corner on you. And this is your way. Most elves are cheap, so there's a way where you spend a turn to draw 2 cards, and then sometimes can play one right away, but typically we'll be able to play the 2 the next turn.
Yeah, I think this looks like a playable card just on the surface.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I think
it's do some brewing with this one.
It's very niche, but it helps that archetype with what it needs, because elves is typically a more aggressive deck.
Yeah.
This pumps this elves. This gives them endurance, so they're able to block if you're in a racing situation. And then, of course, like, it has late game application, the fact that it helps you draw into further gas, which is one of the biggest issues that aggro typically has. So I think this is Direwolf finally showing a little bit of love to an underrepresented format. I haven't been around too long to know if Elves was ever a thing earlier in Eternal.
I don't know either.
But as far as since I've been playing, Fall of Argenport, Elves has never been a thing.
No, people have tried it occasionally, but definitely never been a thing.
So, I like this card. I think it's not a bomb, it's not busted, but I think it fills a hole that this certain archetype doesn't mind having.
I agree.
Which is ironic considering that the stone kind of fits into that slot in the artwork. Get it? The slot in the archetype? Yeah.
Fill in the gap.
Yep, there you go. All right. Moving on to... Oh, wow. All right.
Almost there.
Yep. A little longer than I thought, but I'm not worried about it. You guys are getting it maximum value. All right, this is another card I was excited about. It's sadly, en route tested for me and wasn't too high on, so we have a little bit of insider information. This is Archgriffin Patriarch. It's a 4/4 Griffin for 5, double Haru, so double Justice, double Primal. Has flying, has endurance, so that's solid, right? You're paying 4/4 for 4 and then paying 1 for the flying endurance. Not bad, pretty good deal.
Yeah.
That being said, there's a lot of things. It doesn't tussle well with Carvet. Doesn't tussle well with Eclipse Dragon, right? What else are we thinking about in the air?
Those are the big ones.
Are those all the only flyers in the format? I guess
we just saw that, one up the page a little bit. That's quite a bit larger.
Yeah,
not in the format yet, but it could be.
Doesn't do well against Zoe. Doesn't do well against Akaria. Doesn't do well against. It's okay against Rizon. Yeah, I guess it's fine against Rizon, right? Yeah. Okay, summon.
Doesn't just die and could trade in combat. Yeah.
So summon, draw a card for each curse on the enemy player and their unit. So it counts cursed relics as well as curses, period. All right, let me just go ahead. We already talked about the body. So point blank, how many cards do you want to draw off this guy on average where you are happy running it in your deck?
Happy? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of...
2?
So you want to...
I mean, even 1 is kind of okay. If this is like...
Is it though? Is 1 good enough? Is replacing itself good enough?
I mean, maybe? Yeah. I don't know. Like, I wonder, like... this doesn't just slot into, like, your curse control style deck, right?
I see, and I was excited about it because I think it did, right? Because it takes...
I'm thinking more of, like, Perul, right? Like,
okay, yeah, going more the Griffin,
maybe
going
just
more Griffin, yeah.
Curses or something like that.
What appealed to me is the card draw off the summon, because right now I'm running Empath, Green Stretch Empath in my curse deck, and sometimes it just dies and you don't get to draw the cards. Versus this gives you the card up front.
So you're thinking you could just swap it out for the Empath,
or maybe do like a 3 and 2 split. 3 of these, 2 Empaths, or 2 Empaths, or 3 Empaths and 2 of these, but. En route said on average it drew him a card. Mm-hmm. I think I would be okay with the card replacing itself if it tussled better in the format.
Yeah.
The fact that it kind of doesn't makes me a little more hesitant. That being said, it does do well against typically everything else in the format, right? Because even Elysian, what flyers do they have? They don't have any flyers to deal more than 4.
Well, I mean,
the Griffin.
Anything can be a flyer if you're running the Shihan, right? So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but once again, I mean, that's just going to be the Mizo and Ela and the Sakalas.
For 2. You know, especially in Expedition, right? Like 5/3 attacking after the Empower.
Oh, yeah. Well, that, I mean, it'll still trade, though.
Yeah,
at least trade. So, I don't know. I think I want to draw 3 or 2. Draw 2. With 2, I would be happy. Draw 2 off of this, I would be happy. That was
my first answer. Yeah, I was like, 2, I'd be happy.
I think one is more realistic.
Yeah.
Because, let's just be honest, wanted posters aren't going to stay on targets. So, you're talking about an Avagraft most of the time. I mean, obviously, if you're playing this when you already have a Kodash Sees All, then you're already kind of winning.
Right.
So, expect this to be a Permafrost and Avagraft, right? That's what we're looking at, which seems doable, right? I feel like that's doable. If you're running it with the short beak, then you can have like an Avagraft or a Permafrost and the -1/-1. Granted, that Permabeak on its own plays 2 curses, so
only if there's 2 applicable enemies.
Yeah, units, but I mean, so I think I feel like this thing can draw you 2 cards fairly consistent. That being said, Enrouts played with it for 3 hours, I think, 2 hours. So about 30-ish games, and said it drew him an average on 1. And I think that is serviceable, but I don't think that's enough to make me excited about the card.
One of the more powerful things you're doing in that 3-color curse deck, though, is doing the Felrock's Choice, right? So you're killing a unit and taking the curse off. I mean, yeah, you get to play it again later, but yeah, I mean, a lot of those curses just don't stick around the whole game. A lot of them just fall off when
I mean, you can also sculpt your hand a little bit to where maybe you actually, instead of running this on 5, you play it on 6. So then you're like, Permafrost, play this, draw 2 cards because they have the Avagraft. You know, I guess if you have it in your hand, you can cater things a little bit better, play the wanted poster a little early before killing it, things like that. Are some options, but I think I'm going to play test with it.
It's worth trying.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's out yet. I don't think it's a 4 of. Unless you're just running straight Huru curses, then I think it would be a 4.
That's kind of the way I want to brew with this right now.
Yeah, I could see that. But all right, so Patriarch is serviceable. Yeah. All right, this one actually I think is kind of interesting for the curse deck as well, because Aegis is such a pain in the booty. All right, go ahead and break down Shattered Hopes for us.
Okay, sure. It's 1 cost, but it's 2 influence, being Justice and Shadow. Text is: choose a card with cost 4 or more from the enemy player's hand. They discard it. Decimate: Shattered Hopes can't be negated or blocked by Aegis. If the enemy player has an Aegis, take it. And it's just a slow spell. So that is an interesting line of Decimate text there.
Mm-hmm.
I take the Aegis. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that right there, 100% for curses is just great. And it costs 1, so it's so easy to slot in there. You could play it the turn before you Kodash, or you play it the same turn that you go to Kodash Use All Them. Yeah. I think this is very good.
And it's just 1.
Yeah, I think this is a great market card. Great market card. I
agree.
Anytime you see Huru or Primal on the other side, you just get it out of the market.
Early.
And exactly. And then you're like, pop this, hit you with the Avagraft, cool. Like, I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I like it literally just for the Decimate text. But, like, if you expect them to be doing something that's 4 or more that you know that they marketed for, it just gets even better. Like, it's weird because usually the gravy's on the bottom, right? Like, and this one I'm, like, looking at that Decimate going, that's the card. And then the top part is, like, the optional part. Yeah. Kind of a really interesting design.
And Shakedown? No, not Shakedown. I'm sorry. Shoot. What's the one that grabs a 3 or less card?
Yeah, I immediately started trying to think of it because I knew where you're going.
It's not Sabotage. Oh, it is Shakedown.
I think it is Shakedown, right?
Yeah, Sabotage is the one that
is any.
Yeah, so I think it is Shakedown actually.
I think it is Shakedown.
Boom! Trust your instincts. It's 1 spell. Come on. Shakedown, yeah, sweet.
Got there.
All right, so Shakedown was serviceable at 3 and had Nightfall. So replace your card, but also replace theirs as well. This one just straight up takes it. But yeah, I think it makes sure the way is clear from removal, so your Griffin or your Empath stays in play. I like this card.
A lot of the removal in Expedition especially is 4.
Mm-hmm.
Just the single removals. That's like a reasonable rate in Expedition.
Avagraft, Permafrost, Fell Ritual.
And any board wipe is at least 4. So if you know that they went for something like that, you can snipe it out of their hand before it gets you.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this.
This looks like a pretty playable card. And I mean, just that snatch their ages, that is just a sweet.
It's so good. It can completely change the game. Completely. This card is really good. I like it.
Yeah, this has a lot of potential.
Yeah, so sweet. We found a card we're both excited about. Excellent. Shattered Hopes. You gave us hope, my friend.
Yes.
This is one deranged looking Yeti. Super creepy when I played it in the campaign. I was like, what's going on here?
Right.
It says Tomb of Horrors 2 Found Primal Shadow Relic. When one of your units deals damage, the enemy player discards that many cards from the top of their deck. Once per turn, you may pay 4 to draw the top card of the enemy player's deck. Weird, because it's like an aggro mill, but then a controlled draw pilfer.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
So it has two sides of the coin, so I'm not sure if this is good or bad. Sometimes if you put two different sides of the coin, they don't do either correctly, so it kind of has a dented crisis. But then sometimes it's good because it has applications early and applications late. So, I mean, Yetis just wants you dead, right?
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I guess this is late game when you have like your big Felm finishers, right? This card seems good, right? Because it's pay 4, draw a card from your opponent's deck, which they may not be ready to play against, but
Yeah, this one's very, very meh. I don't know. Like you said, I don't think it seems to do either thing great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because if you're an aggro deck, right, this thing's going to be doing enough damage to where it's relevant, but then you're probably just going to kill them.
Like in MTG, it's like a classic pitfall. If you like try and kill people in your mill deck. Yeah. You know, like with attacking.
Yeah.
I mean, the time where that's good is in multiplayer. Where you can like mill the one guy while attacking the other one. Yes. But we don't have multiplayer in this game.
And then it has to deal damage. It's not attacking. It's not like you can just swing and they can block and you're literally doing damage to them to mill them.
Right.
So, and it has to be a unit, so it's not even a spells deck. Like, yeah, I wanted this card to be good.
Too many different ways.
Yeah, I agree. And then paying 4, Pilfer is 1 power. You're paying 4. It's a repetitive Pilfer, but it's a Pilfer. You don't know what you're getting.
If you're throwing, you're just trying to do urchins.
Yeah. All right, we're off it. Tomb of Horrors. Yeah, you can take your deranged Yeti somewhere else. All right. Nightmare Prism. 1 power Relic. When you draw a card, it loses its influence.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, this is just Brew City, right? Like,
right.
Monocolor, 5-color good stuff.
It's like some kind of risky brew card, though, right? Like.
So here's the thing. Super cool in the fact that you could just play 5 colors and not worry about fixing.
Yeah.
But then we run into the Yisha problem. Right. If you build your deck, where it is busted, right?
That's
I have all these 4 influence units. I have all the legendaries, all the Sadides, the Ross, and I can just play them off the top of my deck. I'm winning.
You can't though.
What happens when you don't get your Nightmare Prism?
Well, you can't warp them either, right? It's only when you draw them does it lose its influence.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
Actually, just bad for those.
So yeah.
You have to draw the warp card. Well, I don't know. Like that was the first thing I thought of too.
Yeah, true.
And that's exactly what I realized. Like immediately, it's like, wait, you have to draw it.
So where is this being busted? Like it just because when you really capitalize on this, right? When you really capitalize on this, and you have 5 colors, the best cards, then you're just setting yourself up for failure when you don't see your prism.
Right. Like exactly. I don't know. I like the idea that I could build a 5-color deck that's really only has power even for 2 colors. So you could run insignias.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you couldn't even run insignias because when the card's in your deck, it counts as like a different card in your deck. So no, never mind on the insignia thing. I don't know. Like it just gives you, it opens up the possibility of playing any card you draw. Like that's like an exciting possibility.
But is it worth a card in your deck?
Right. I don't think so. I think phrasing it like you did was like the Yisha problem is very accurate.
I mean, what do? You put it in your market and then you just run. Okay, you put it in your market.
You can have
run...
anything in your market except then your smugglers have to be that color. So
no! It doesn't go to the market. It doesn't because it's neutral. You can't grab neutral cards.
You can't grab neutral cards.
Oh God, yeah.
So you can't even put it.
Oh yeah, no, don't. All right, we're off of it.
It's like yeah, you could draw any card from your market, but it literally only lets you put things in your market where your smugglers share a color.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We're off.
Everywhere we're going with this, we're immediately being shut down. So
yeah,
there might be something to it, but
bottom floor for this is you put it in Reanimator. So now you can cast your Azendels, where you would just have, let's say, for example, 8 cards, right? Azendels plus one other card, let's say Grenva or something, that you couldn't play with your power base.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the bare minimum. Does that deck care?
No.
For Prism, they don't, right?
You literally just played a card that did nothing, basically.
Yeah, it's exactly. I just no.
Or for like a card that just cares that you have an extra relic, maybe, or a deck.
I think it reads cool, and that's where it stops.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would really like, and I asked LSV on stream one time, and he just kind of nonchalantly shrugged the question off because I was like, because I referenced it to draft of like, hey, do you guys intentionally make like skill check or bad cards in draft, or is it like, does it have some niche constructed? And he's just like, yeah, we do those things, and then moved on. And I was just like, thanks, like, yeah, got it. I know you do it. I'm seeing it. I want to know, like, is there some hole here that these Chapin and LSV sees that we don't? But I just don't see it. Like, I just don't see where this would be relevant at all.
I don't either.
It's not even good with influence cards, right? Like when you draw, it costs no. Yeah, so it's not even a thing of Flame Blast, for example, right? Because Flame Blast still, it's not worth a card. I'm not seeing any value where this is worth a card.
Right.
So, all right. Well, what a way to end it. But that's so that's
what a nightmare.
Ah, look at you. Boom. Got there.
Give me in on those sweet puns.
Yeah, no joke. All right. So that is going to be the Eternal Journey breakdown of the Promised by Firelight cards that recently came out now in December 2019. So overall, a little lackluster, but I also think they've already said that they don't want to completely blow up the power level of things and make it to where you have to have these campaigns to compete. They try to put a little bit of varying power level, and that's what we saw.
If that's their goal, I think they're successful.
Yeah. And of course there's still a casual scene. I think there's a casual scene for Eternal. So most of these cards will see some kind of play. Maybe we'll see Expedition rotate, and then some of these cards can come in. There are some cards, at the very least, there were cards that sparked interest and sparked brewing.
Yeah.
So even if they fail, they still created a little bit of tussle in the format. So I guess we'll find out. The next ECQ is Expedition. So we'll see. That's coming next month. So we'll see if anything gets brewed up using any of these new cards. I think I would not. Obviously, we're already seeing Airmont. We're already seeing Liss. I would like to see Spitflame, Archangel, and then Shattered Hand. Sunset Stone as well. I don't know if that's enough to put elves back on the map, but I would not be surprised to see it. I think, and then obviously Artisan, but we're kind of in such a niche, like it's such a weird space. I don't think we're gonna see Ixtal or Ollie at all. Period. And then Lynn Ray's Protection would be interesting. So we definitely got some cards. But all right, guys. Once again, I am Jedi. This is JohnHolio from Eternal Journey Limited Podcast. This is a bit of a constructed video today, but that's all right. If you guys like this video, want to see some more of it, let us know in the comments below that you liked this review and got something out of it. Let us know on Twitch. We both stream at JohnHolio and Jedi_EJ. I stream every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. JohnHolio, just follow his social media to find out when he randomly...
Whenever I feel like it.
Yeah. And remember to check out our podcast, Eternal Journey, the podcast. But all right, guys, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. And that'll do it for us. So until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.